Pride organizers, say sponsors are pulling back amid DEI rollbacks and economic fears.
Good.
Several of the country's largest LGBTQ pride celebrations have lost major sponsors to the tune of $200,000 to $350,000 per event.
Dude, it's sad that they were getting this money in the first place just to celebrate guys touching each other's butts. Like,
yeah.
How did we get to this point to where that's a celebration?
That's crazy that it's per event.
I know, but it was like I do remember in what was that? Toyota or something like that sponsored one of these big pride things, and then they got a lot of backlash for that. Last year or the year before, there have been a lot of these big companies that have been donating to these events, and people are sick of it. They're sick of the perverted movement that this is, and they're like, look, we're not going to be buying from these companies that are sponsoring this demonic stuff. And hey, it's good. Let the companies be scared. Are the companies still like degenerate and this and that? Probably. But hey, at least we as a community are taking a stand against this stuff. And so we don't have to constantly see it in front of our faces, and we don't have to see it corrupting children and so on and so forth.
I think it's pretty funny that the first chance that these companies had to get out, they did.
Oh, yeah.
The first chance they could. They said, these are from the Pride organizers. I know that they're facing tough decisions inside those organizations. And I don't want to call them out. I want to call them in. Suzanne Ford said, the executive director of San Francisco Pride, said of the disappearing sponsors. We will remember who stood by us and who didn't. That's a veiled threat.
It is.
When it was politically popular, they were lined up. It's almost as if that's the only reason they were there, Melonie.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost as if that was the only reason that they were there. Is because it was politically expedient and profitable to pretend they gave a crap about your community.
Exactly.
Here's my favorite paragraph. Eve Keller, co-president of USA Prides, a national network of LGBTQ pride organizers, said that members across the country have reported receiving significantly less in sponsorships last year, or this year compared to last. Some of the smaller rural prides are down 70 to 90%.
Let's go, America! Like fellow Americans who have been fighting against this stuff, because believe me, as somebody who has also been there speaking out against it with you guys, it has been tough. We have put a lot on the line, being called bigots, being banned on social media platforms. People are risking losing their jobs for speaking out against this degeneracy. And it's like, instead, we stood together against this stuff. And look what's happening. Stay strong, guys.
What do you think this says about these companies that were donating the money in the first place? It sure seems like they probably weren't very interested in the cause.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think they were. I think it was just like a big advertising situation for them to think, oh, this is the popular thing. Everything is celebrating this right now, and we can look virtuous as a company and blah, blah, blah. And so they support these things because, oh, brought to you by Toyota or whatever.
Yeah.
It may
brought to you by
be.
Toyota. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is like a lot of these like organizations, by the way, a lot of like moderate people like me really had no problem with pride stuff until they started, targeting kids. Then it was like, oh, this is something we can all agree on. And the amount of money, the bag that they fumbled by just basically saying like, oh, well, I want to go and we need to have kids storytime hour.
Yeah.
Drag storytime hour. And we need to have all ages drag shows at these events. They fumbled maybe the biggest bag in history other than, I don't know.
Because it was never enough. First it was, we just want to love each other. We just want to live our lives. We just want to get married. It's fine. And blah, blah, blah. Well, it kept getting more and more extreme to where it's like, oh, now you have to celebrate it. Now you can't even be quiet about it. You have to celebrate us. And it just got more and more in your face. And and now we have to have representation in video games and in movies and in this and that. And we have to have representation in schools and pride flags in schools and indoctrinate your children. And it just got entirely out of hand. That's because sin just does not contain itself. And here's the thing is, if these LGBTQ things were normal and good things, then they wouldn't have to be throwing celebrations. Why do they constantly need parades, constantly need celebrations, constantly need affirmed by everybody? Because they know it's wrong. Otherwise, you don't need to do all this stuff. It's like they in their conscience, they know it's wrong because it's a sin. The Bible tells us so. It goes against God's design. And so whenever you're doing something wrong, you will need constant validation to battle your own conscience against it. And that's what's going on with this. Just like if people wanted to throw parades for eating poop. Hey, let's normalize eating poop. Yay, guys, I eat poop. It's like they need to do that because everybody knows it's disgusting. So it's just like you have to do these things to try to normalize it. And that's exactly what was going on with the LGBT stuff.
Well, they went on, the co-president of USA Pride said that members across the country should have report. Oh, wait, sorry. They said, we are not trying to sound the alarm or to make this the only focus. But when we're down money, we're down safety and security.
Who's hurting them?
Come on. God.
It's like we're the ones that are at risk of upsetting a troon and then getting
right.
Like, why do they always resort to violence on all of the transgender memes? For example, it's like, oh,
right, just make fun of them
and throw knives at transphobes.
Yeah, just make fun of them, make a very mild joke about that community, and then open your DMs once.
Yeah,
see what happens.
Yeah,
they say St. Louis Pride is more than $150,000 short of last year's Pride budget, which organizers tell NBC News was $480,000. So with this amount of money flowing in, is it can you really, anybody, I would love to hear somebody make the case in 2025 that this isn't a grift, that it isn't.
Oh, for sure.
That it isn't simply about the money. It's not about the safety. It's not about acceptance. It's about recruitment.
It is.
That's why the festivals have to be bigger and bigger, and all this stuff have to be bigger and bigger. I've often said, now I know you would disagree with me, but my position has always been that there are LGBT people, just like there are people with gender dysmorphia. But that was like when they were 0.001% of the population. Then somebody figured out that you can effectively create these people through incentivizing them with dopamine hits online, through SSRIs and family therapy at a young age, through TikTok promoting it, through enriching people like Dylan Mulvaney and Lil Nas X. You turn these people into role models. You can essentially create an endless supply of these people, because obviously the saying has always been that they don't reproduce, they recruit. And this is just that on a much bigger level. Yeah,
and my problem with this is it's just like, some people genuinely struggle with this sin, and that's what it is. It's a sin and a temptation that some people did have more inherently than others. That can be from a variety of different reasons, like some people who are abused, or some people who dealt with a lot of trauma, and then that's just their struggle.
They don't ever like to talk about that.
No, they don't. And
they
then
never like to talk about the high rate of gay men or women that were abused.
Exactly. Yeah. Or maybe some people, that's just their sinful temptation. We live in a sinful world. We all are going to have temptations to sin, and it's just some people have different ones than others. And so I definitely sympathize with people who struggle with these temptations and with this sin, and who battle it. But they can be delivered through Jesus Christ, and that is something I would encourage for all of them, because at the end of the day, whether somebody struggles with the gay stuff, whether somebody struggles with drinking alcohol, too much alcohol, or stealing, or this, that, or the other, whatever it may be, we all fall short, and we all need Jesus to save us. And that includes this community as well. They need Jesus, and and the blood of Jesus Christ can deliver them, because to try to deliver yourself from your own sinful vices, it's an impossible feat. This is why we need Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that we're getting these articles now, because Pride is creeping up. Like, it's May
Yeah.
right now. It's only 30 days out.